Hi, we're here for our latest Newsmakers segment. I'm Jim Alexander from the Press Enterprise, and we are sitting in the office of Brian Wickstrom, the outgoing athletics director at the University of California, Riverside, soon to be the athletics director at the University of Louisiana at Monroe. This has been kind of a whirlwind last few weeks for you, hasn't it?
It came up pretty fast, and things took place fast, and really it was a really tough decision. You know, it probably a couple weeks of me contemplating it, working with the chancellor, talking to their president, trying to figure out really what direction I was going to go in, and it happened pretty fast. So, and then once the decision was made, it was in a couple days it was over. So,
what were some of the things you were balancing?
All the projects that we have going on here, in terms of, was this the best time to leave UC Riverside for me? And it isn't, because we have a lot of good things going on with the C Center. Our fundraising's up. Our marketing plan is starting to put in place with our grassroots. So the decision was, do I leave now with these projects in place to go back to an FPS program, which I've always wanted to do? Or do I wait another year? But the chances of FPS jobs coming open, don't come along very often. And I had to, weigh the pros and cons of both. So as tough as it was, and I had many conversations with Chancellor Connolly about it. I talked to Chancellor White about it, and it was just, in the end, we made the decision that we thought was the best decision for the time and for everybody involved.
And football was the tipping point.
Football was the tipping point for sure.
Now, what are the specific challenges that you're going to be going into? I mean, you've been at football schools as an associate athletic director, so you sort of understand what the deal is. What is it about a football program that is different, that makes your job different now?
Well, it's at a different level. I mean, when you have football is king in terms of revenue generation. All the FPS programs, there's 125 of them in the country. A greater portion of their budget comes from the football sales, the football revenue. When you're at UC Riverside, the challenge is basketball, and the budget's a lot smaller. So from the standpoint of going there and what the challenge is, it's getting people to support the football program. The football coach has had a lot of success. When I was at UTEP, we sold out games for football season, for basketball season, in a community that there wasn't great support all the time, but week in and week out, we got the support up. And the challenge is we got to get that support up for the 5 or 6 home games a year that we have there versus the community where they already support, like at the University of Arkansas. So our job is to get the community to support it for every home game.
What is it about Monroe that is appealing to you?
The president I share a lot of the same philosophies with the president. He's a CPA, he's an accountant, and he understands budgets. And from my standpoint, he wants to see athletics succeed. And they have a great football coach in Todd Berry. So right now, this is a critical time for that school in the Sun Belt Conference. And I thought the challenge would have been too good to pass up as a chance to really raise the level of the entire athletics department based upon the success they had and the future success they could have in football as part of the Sun Belt Conference. So I'm not walking into a department that's already at the top level. I get a chance to help build that up and take it to the next level. And to me, that's one of the challenges that I've always wanted to have a chance at.
Now, what about the two communities? I mean, Monroe, Louisiana is smaller, and it's more isolated than Riverside. I mean, we all know what we've got here. We're on the fringe of the LA TV market, and 300,000 people, and like I've said, 1.5 million within a half hour's driving distance. What differences beyond those do you see? I
mean, Monroe has its own television stations. They have a newspaper that's dedicated to the community. There's not the pro sports markets that you have, but there's a lot of hunting, and there's a lot of fishing, and there's a lot of farming communities. So there are different challenges that are similar. They don't have, in Riverside, you're dealing with USC, UCLA, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Los Angeles Kings, the Anaheim teams. And when you're in Monroe, you're dealing with, okay, how do we get these 100,000 people in this metropolitan area to come take an interest in our program? So there's a lot of similarities. They're just different things that divert people's attention, but it's all the same thing, is telling the story of the student athlete, getting people engaged, and getting them to want to support your program and come watch us, the 5 or 6 Saturdays a year.
I noticed, I'm saw the video of your press conference at Monroe, and you mentioned the farming community. So I would imagine that there's sort of a rural element there that doesn't exist here.
Yeah, if you go outside Monroe, West Monroe, I mean, there's the farming communities of Farmerville, Bastrop, Tallulah. There's all these communities that are within probably an hour drive that are different farming communities that they haven't really tapped into to get them to be supporters of the program. So I know I already have an event the first week of August that's going to be in Bastrop to go down and meet with that community and have a luncheon with them, and then also speak to the farmers in that area later on that month as well. So it's just a different niche that to tap into that I think is pretty exciting, a chance to get them to be engaged with our program.
And you talked about the progress that had been made here, and now you're leaving that. I mean, how is that progress going to be sustained?
Well, I think the plan's in place, and I think the people that are here that have helped put those items in place know what they're doing. So I don't think progress is going to halt. And I know with Chancellor Connolly, she's a huge supporter of athletics. She's going to make sure that the people that lead this program are going to keep pushing it forward. You know, when we hired Eric Buskirk to come in for development a year ago, we put a lot of those development programs in place, and our donor base has grown. From our standpoint, when you look at Melanie Markwell, who's our business person, she understands college athletics. She was at Central Connecticut where their budget was $6.5 million with football, and they won championship. So she's still a part of the program. So we have the right people in place to really move this program forward, and it's going to be fun for me to watch from afar, because I only hope this program keeps growing and has a lot of success, because then I know I was a part of starting that success and momentum.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to put you on the spot. I know you said don't go negative. I'm not going negative, but there was a perception out there. I mean, there are some people who said, "Oh, he's bailing out because things aren't going the way they should at UCR." I mean, what do you say to those people?
I don't think that's accurate at all. I think honestly, Chancellor White was a huge advocate of athletics. Any request I took to Chancellor Connolly for our department, she's approved. And if you look at our athletics association, the number of members has grown tremendously. So I think people that are saying that I'm bailing out, I don't think they really know all the progress that's been made. From my standpoint, it was a tough decision for me, because I know the great things that are going to come up in the next year and 2 years for this program. And I love to be part of success, and I'm not going to get a chance to be a part of it. So I'll be watching from afar, but not bailing out at all. I mean, when I took this job, I signed a 5-year contract that, in my mind, I thought 5 years I would totally change this place and get to be a part of a lot of successes. I didn't expect to have this opportunity to come up 2 years into my program building efforts that, and have the chance to go where I wanted to go. And I think Chancellor Connolly, she may even be more of a vocal person than Chancellor White about moving this athletics program forward, because remember, she was at Nebraska and Texas A&M, so she knows the role athletics plays on a campus. And she's from day one said, "I'm going to support you. It's going to support you, and anything I've asked for, she's granted us permission to do."
Is there enough momentum in the C Center project that it will move forward, it will be completed? I mean, because you've been one of the most visible and vocal advocates of it, and sort of the guy out front pushing it along.
And you know this, from my first month of August 2011, I've been setting up meetings all over the place, including going to China, including going to talk to developers, to bring developers and companies into the mix that wanted to build this and be a part of this program. I've had conversations with them all the way up until yesterday about it. And we're in the RFP stage, so we're going to get proposals from some companies on what they want to do at this facility. And I think everybody knows how important this facility is. The county's behind it, the city's behind it. So the C Center project is bigger than Brian Wickstrom. And I'll tell that to anybody. I told that to the people in Monroe, Louisiana. Anything that takes place in our department, it's not about the athletic director. It's about the great people that are pushing for things to happen, and the success goes to them. It's not the athletic director. I'm Brian Wickstrom. I'm one person. It takes a lot more than one person to move anything forward. And the C Center has great people behind it. The chancellor's behind it. The students are behind it. Everybody on this campus wants it to happen. People in the county and the city want it to happen. So I think it's in great shape.
Talk about your relationships with Chancellor White and then with Chancellor Connolly. And I think it's interesting that in making this decision, you talked to both of them, and you kind of sought their guidance.
When I talked to Chancellor White about the opportunity, he said, you have to go down and evaluate if it's a good move for your family. He said, in my conversation with him, when I took this job, it was, come in, do a great job, and I will help you, go to whatever school you want to go to down the road. And then when he left, I tell you now, he is the most genuine person, because when he left, he called me up and said, Brian, I got good news and bad news for you. The good news is you're going to be okay. The bad news is I'm taking the job because I couldn't pass up the California state system. So it took me a little while to get over the shock, but I've always stayed in contact with him. And when I talked to him about this job, he says, I know you want to get back to a football program. Make sure that it's the right fit for your family. He goes, I hired you because I believe in you and you're going to be successful wherever you go. From his standpoint, he said, if you come here and do a great job for me for the 5 years, he goes, you'll be good enough. I can help you get the UCLA job because you're going to be that good. You'll be that successful. So he believed in me, which makes it a lot easier to get the job. And then when I first got called from the search firm, I talked to Chancellor Connolly about this job. I said, hey, I've been contacted about this job. I don't know that much about it. I got to ask questions. And she said, you got to go down and look at it, see what good ideas you can bring back to our campus, and maybe you can put some things in place here, see if it's a good fit for your family. She goes, you've done a great job here. A lot of people would hate to see you go, but from a family perspective, you need to look at it. So when I came back from the interview and I told her I'm still contemplating, she said, I don't want you to go. Tell me what it takes to keep you. And it wasn't necessarily about the money UC Riverside is paying me. And then in the end I said, I appreciate the offer for the additional money, but the fact is it's an FPS program. Those chances don't come along very well. And she said, well, thank you for everything, and I totally understand. Because she's had to move around in her career. Look at her career path. Mm-hmm. She's made 6 moves in her career to get here, and hopefully, she's the chancellor here in a few weeks and keeps moving this place forward.
But I mean, it's not unusual in your industry or in our industry, right. For example. I mean that people go. I mean, people go to the next opportunity. Right,
and it is. In college athletics, it's about going to school, picking up those additional experiences, becoming more qualified for the next step. And when you have the opportunity, you take that opportunity. I mean, if you look where Dan Guerrero was. He went from UC Irvine to UCLA. And before that, he was at division
Cal State Dominguez Hills.
Yeah. So when he got that chance, he made the move. From my standpoint, my career aspirations is to be at a BCS school in football. So it's hard to get a BCS job in football if you're at a school that doesn't have football. I just didn't think it was going to come 2 years into my tenure here. I thought it was going to be more 5 where I'd have a chance to go. Mm-hmm. So it just, college athletics, that's this world. People work, and when you have success as a department, you have a chance to move on.
2-part question. What are you most proud of from your 2 years here, of what you've accomplished, what the department has accomplished? And what is there that you wish you'd been able to get done, that maybe you regret that you didn't push it farther along, or that it didn't sprout the seeds that you wish it had?
I think what I'm most proud of is how the perception of our athletic department in the community and nationally has changed. Because our attendance has gone up. We have increased our revenues. We have changed the perception of our program. Now when people talk about it, University of Miami is using Building Champions. Other schools are using our ideas that we put into place. And when I get asked to go speak at the national convention, as an athletic director, they're doing that based upon not Brian Wickstrom. They're doing it based upon the department's success as a whole. So that says a lot about this place. And for that to have that opportunity to do it, it's a pretty special thing for this campus, for me to get to represent this campus. What I wish I wish the C Center project would have been moved faster, because I wish I could have been the guy to put the shovel in the ground or break the ground. But the fact is, the RFP and the RFQ process took time. It took time to get the people in place to move that ball forward. That's the one thing that I've had a chance to do at other campuses, and I wish I would have had a chance to be the guy to put the shovel in the ground for the facility. I just haven't, but I didn't make it.
Is there anything other than the C Center that you think that you wish you could have done?
No, I think we've increased the scholarship funding. We've increased the money raised. Attendance is up, and I think you see the coaching changes that we made. I would like to be here because I know Linda Garza is going to have success. I know Michelle's going to have success at volleyball. Eric Wheely's already had success in his first season. And and Jim Woolridge, because of some changes he made and the recruiting class he brought in, I think you're going to see a really huge improvement in his program this year. And I'd like to be a part of that because I was a part of those changes, and I would like to be able to be a part of that competitive success because really this program hasn't had that before. And being here 2 years, I made changes, but I'm not going to get there to reap the benefits of those changes. So I'll be cheering for those guys from Louisiana.
Are you taking the same approach down there that you took here? Come in, evaluate for a year, and then, and because from what I understand from talking to people down there, that there are some coaches on their staff that have maybe gotten a little overcomfortable.
Yeah, and I met the coaches and staff yesterday before the press conference, and I told them, everybody's going to get a shot. I don't think it's fair for anybody to come in and make a change if I've never worked a day in the life of anybody. So everybody gets a shot. I'll meet with each coach and ask them for their plan, what they expect this year, what they expect next year, and then make changes accordingly if we don't see progress. But it's a very similar situation down there that we encountered here, and so I think that gives me a lot to learn from here that I can take down there and implement. There's a lot of similarities, and I think that's why Dr. Bruno, the president of UL-Monroe, thought I was such a good fit because a lot of the issues that we inherited here, they have down there, so I thought it would be a good fit. And I'm excited to take and tell the UC Riverside story to those staff, to those people about things we've done here that we can put into place there.
What about their facilities down there? Are there things that you've isolated that, hey, we got to do this, we got to fix this, what have you?
Yeah, their basketball arena's got some. The basketball was built in 1972. It's an arena. It's not horrible, but it needs to have some more technology put in. It needs to have some seats put closer to the court. I mean, their baseball stadium is good. Their football offices aren't good. I know they're looking for maybe an indoor football practice facility. So they don't need to have the major arena like the C Center. They would love to have a major project of some sort, but they need a new track. Their track is probably worse than UC Riverside track when I got here. And chance of why fix that problem. But the fact is, with our program down there, their facilities need to be enhanced a little bit like we've done with our soccer facility or the press box of the softball facility or the practice facility. Things like that need to be done that will really make them better and give them a competitive advantage.
Sounds like maybe somebody down there needs to go on Undercover Boss.
Yeah, the president would be a good guy for that. Yeah. Although everybody would recognize his voice, so that wouldn't work.
Yeah. What would your advice be for your successor, whoever that might be?
Think outside the box and keep pushing hard and work closely with Chancellor Connolly because she will help get things done. I think if they do that, I think what can hold this department back are people that want to come in and not cause any friction. But everybody knows friction gives you traction, which gives you progress. So I
believe in friction.
Exactly, friction. So I really think that if someone comes in and takes over this department and doesn't try and think outside the box and just tries to maintain status quo and not upset the apple cart and not make progress, that'll take some steps back in this program. So I want someone to come in, think outside the box, and really help push the program forward and get it across the finish line since we're down the road.
What are you going to miss most about Riverside? Besides the columnist, of course.
The columnist, we'll probably talk daily, and hopefully you'll keep tabs on me.
Okay.
But you know what? Riverside is, people who have not been to Riverside, California, they don't understand. It's a great community. It's a friendly community. You have great weather. Everybody in it. I never had to drive to LA to do anything because everything I wanted was in Riverside or close by. So I think it's similar. I think the perception of Riverside on the outside, people who haven't been here, they have no idea what a great community is. Bill and Sue Johnson have been great. As you know, Amy Harrison's great. The people, the special people, Lane Arthur in this community, Dave Cunningham that have helped this program out, all those people make this community special, and people have no idea how great the people are. There's a reason why people have come here and never left. And there's a reason why Bill and Sue Johnson have grown their business and have never left. It's because it's a great community. And that, I'm going to really miss the people the most about this thing. We had 320 student athletes here. I got to know a lot of them personally, and I watched them grow. When I got here, I met some of the kids, and it's nice to see them graduate in a couple years when they're juniors when I got here. So it's nice to see the aspect, but I'll miss the people of this community.
Do you feel like there are pockets, though, that you haven't been able to reach?
I think it's just, I think that the plan hasn't got to them yet. I think we've done outreach. You know, Julie Hall did some things to get elementary schools involved and bring some people to campus. You know, the student body, we've increased attendance with the student body. So, I mean, all that stuff, like in less than 2 years, it's hard to think we're going to totally change this place. But I think if they stay on course with the plan that's in place in 4 and 5 years, you'll see a big difference between what it was back when I started in like 2011. Not because of me, because of the great people that will be pushing the ball forward.
Are you going to poach some of those people? Are you going to take some of them to Monroe with you? Or?
If there's openings that they have an interest in going with me. Not Jason List, because he's going to Ole Miss.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Congratulations once again.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thanks, Jim.